Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Well, the name of the game last week was to pick up pieces with the leaders not here in the championship, and they didn't do it. So let's rewrite it again. Let's have a mulligan. Let's do it once again, but it's round 8 this time, not round 7. We're here for Road America, and we are in the home of the Green Bay Packers in Wisconsin. Of course, we're not in Green Bay itself here for the Super Formula Series here on Sim Speed. Now, my name is Craig King. Joining me in the booth for the first time is Lucas Hand. And no pun intended, Lucas, you have a good handle on this car and this combination.
No, yeah, Road America is one of the best combos for the Super Formula on iRacing. It is 4 miles of pure speed. And as we look at the championship schedule, the Road America on the 8th, and we come up to the Italian doubleheader at Mugello and Monza with a chance of rain, so be looking forward to that one as well. But no, I'm super excited to see what the drivers can do today, and hopefully they can put on an amazing show for us.
Yeah, and that's what we're hoping for as well. Road America always delivers for the drivers, and yeah, what a run to the end of the season. You can officially say it's moving day in the Super Formulas, and when you look at the championship standings, I think you'll understand that. But we've got to, of course, get there as well as Timothy Fries Larson. These are the iRacing Championship standings. Drop weeks aren't incorporated into these yet, but 167 points lead. That's basically the equivalent of winning one of these broadcast races and winning a big race out here today. So with no Larson here today, Benjamin David will be looking to pick up points as well. So is Dan Jiang, Brian Carey right behind as well, Rowan Senna, Daniel Sofko, Dennis Molzanoff, Robin Kresge, Anis Law, and Brett Greaves. All there, and those two at the end are tied. And we've also got the broadcast standings as well, which, well, it's a one-man show. Timothy Fries Larson, even without being here last week, has a almost, well, over 2-win points gap at the moment to Kevin Foster. Marco Nermler, really big gains after the last 2 weeks. Dan Yang wasn't here last week. We'll look to make some more points. JT Smearton as well, making some points up. And Benjamin David sitting there tied with Lucas, who's alongside me today. So I don't think Lucas would be scoring any points. Victor Ord will be in 8th, Brian Carey 9th, and Daniel Sofko will be in 10th. Well, as we were saying, it is Road America. This is, in my opinion, one of the best tracks to do racing in. And I'll tell you what, Lucas, I'm looking at a couple places to overtake, mainly turn 5.
Yeah, I know. In the Super Formula, turn 5, turn 1, turn 12, all fantastic corners to make use of that ginormous slipstream you get off those humongous straightaways, and use of that overtake mode as well. The overtake mode is so prominent around this track because it gives you so much extra horsepower, so much extra speed. Along with the draft, you can get up to 10 kilometers an hour of speed difference, which without DRS is a huge difference. And you can get it alongside cars, you can dive down the inside of cars, and so it'll be a huge slipstream fest here today, and I cannot wait to see what these guys can provide.
Yeah, we're looking forward as well. I'm looking forward to it. This is why iRacers love this track, because it is a slipstream track. It's a draft track. You've got to make your moves. You've got to be kind and be smart when you go to looking for some moves around this clockwise track. And yeah, 4 miles long. You need all 4 miles to really get advantage out there. And the key thing will be in qualifying as the drivers will go on by. Just a quick rundown of the race detail, because they do have 2 laps to do in 8 minutes, about a 1 minute 40 peak time in terms of what we may be seeing in the slowest times. And it is a 21 lap race here, so it's going to be one of the longer races they do in the season. No pit stops are required unless you're going to serve the mechanical black flag, and 17 incident points for that drive through, 25 incident points, so you get another 8 more if you go do that drive through before they pull you off the track and say your day's done. And you don't want that at the end of the day. Is now we get to see drivers coming across the line. James Byrne back once again, taking an early pole, but then Yuki Shirakawa out of nowhere, well, he's got 99 problems, and that's what James got right now. He's 99 hundredths behind.
Yep, Jack David Spickett looking to start his second lap here, coming down the front straightaway. That inline 4 turbocharged engine working its hardest as you come up to the line. What's it going to be? It's a 140.4, so a bit off the pace for Jack. He's going to have to find some time in the second lap as you thunder into turn 1, 5th gear, full speed through about 291 apex speed as you get into turn number 3, down the hill. Stab of the brake and back on the power as early as you can. Huge snap. That could be an off track for Jack David Spickett as he's still going. No, he stopped. So that is an off track. That's his qualifying over. Dan Jang has stolen the pole away as well. He's a 139.2 as Torres now on a lap. Coming into turn 6, super difficult. The car gets a bit light just over the crest, but you gotta plant the power back down again. It's all about the straight line speed around here. It's all about the exits, getting the power down as best as you can. Now into turn 7, spot your braking zone. And he does it brilliantly. Get the back on power once again. Now into turn 9 and 10 there. But now we're following Federico and Samarth.
Yeah, Samarth's going to be coming across the line very shortly. Here comes James Byrne. Oh, hang on. Did he get an off track there through Bill Mitchell Bend? No, I don't think he did. Going to be doing everything here. Back in the day, IMSA used to call turn 14 one of the toughest corners on the track. You can see why. It looks like it's an easy corner. It just opens up a little bit. James did a real good shot to try and get pole, but Smarth Monsanov took that away, and now the times are coming in. Benjamin David goes up into P3. Yuki Ichiban for Shirakawa takes that pole position away, but now all eyes. Marco Nomalis 6, Andrew Petty. What Petty got in at the pocket here today is a 39.221. That's good enough for P6, but here comes Dan. Dan is the man who'll come across the line. And is it going to be pole position? It's a 38.89. No, it isn't. That is dominance. Tavares will come across the line. Still some more drivers in time, but Yuki with pole position. That, in theory, is provisional pole. That's going to be a great start for the race.
Yeah, one more wall. Oh, into the wall for Silva, and that's a tough end to qualifying. So easy to do, to dip a tire on the exit there. Watch out for that in the race. However, one more driver, it seems, on their lap. They haven't set one yet, so be looking to set at least something to get up the grid here. The 22 car looking, a bit of tire in the grass there. Try to open up the exits of the corner. That's why I do that. Through Bill Mitchell Bend now into the last corner. Can he set something good? Oh, it looks neat and tidy. It does. So what can he do across the line?
Do you know what? That looked a little bit slow through the last corner. They may have had a bit of an issue trying to get to power down. It's a 39.9, still respectable time, actually, when you think we've got a 425 car grid today. So that's going to be very respectable out there. In fact, when you think about it, technically, he beats Jack David Spickett in qualifying. If you can beat Jack, that's not a knock at Jack, of course. But if you can beat Jack, that is a real good drive out there. He's going to send me a message after this to say, oh, no, why did you do that? Well, we all know that Jack, unfortunate off-track did cost him, as Christopher Fully will be coming by just with one more lap, but with 55 seconds to go. You're not going to get a lot of time left out there, and just look how close it is at the front. The top 10 are separated by less than, 0.4 of a second, which is
that's what this track can provide. It's so easy to have. It's so hard to find that huge margin that, our Kevin Fosters and our Timothy Free Larsons can find. And so with these guys, it's just about, getting that track position early because it's so close and not making any silly mistakes.
Well, as you can see there, a little bit of wind, 7 miles southwesterly. If you've got an idea where north is, well, technically you're north and you come out of turn 14 and you're going south when you're going up to the start-finish line. 10 seconds left in qualifying, and I don't think Federico's going to make any time here unless they've got a spaceship. They're not going to be crossing the line in 2 seconds. So it is all done for qualifying. 25 cars out there today. It's the big one at Road America. And Yuki Shirakawa Ichiban will take pole position alongside Dan Yang in second. Smarth Monsanov will be in third, and James Byrne will take fourth place. And Gabrielle Hope, will be in fifth. Number 16 car, great qualifying there. Benjamin David will be in sixth place for the second page. Fabrizio Rivera, seventh. Andrew Petty with a P8. Marco Nurmala, remember, 2 wins in the last 2 races, in ninth. Elliot Kawati will be in 10th. Matthew Devine in 11th. Daniel Soko in 12th place. Halfway through the grid, Victor Ord will be in 13th, and Valero Franks Taveras will be in 14th, followed by Alejandro Cessna Torres in 15th. Then it's John Silver in 16th, and Miguel Fachado in 17th. Federico Cristofulli, as we were just seeing, will be in 18th. Jack Davis Pickett, 19th. Why is that a shock? Well, he had an off-track on his second lap. Brian Carey will be 20th. Jessica Julia Oliver will be in 21st. Sorry, Jake. 22nd, David Toaster. And Carr will be 23rd, with Storm Von Yatsky not setting a time in 24th. Arthur Vidal also not setting a time in 25th place. As the drivers will be getting themselves ready. Speedville out here today. Remember, 21 laps though. Lots of concentration will be needed in these cars and this driving, and it's all about picking the right moment out there for the drivers. And remember, you've also got that push to pass, as they call it in the sim. With the length of this lap, you're not going to be able to use push to pass every lap. It's just quicker than the waiting time. However, you will get a good shot to use it. 23 Celsius track temperature, that's 74 Fahrenheit for our friends in America. We talked about the wind, we've talked about everything else. All we're waiting for now is the drivers to rev up. Barney's getting ready with those lights. We're getting ready for 21 laps here at Road America. And it is green flag. And it's a slow start for Monsanov. And it's a good start for Shirakawa. But side by side, we're going with Dan Yang. Almost 3 wide in the background, as Dan will have to try and do is around the outside with cold tires. Can't get it done. We'll hold that in. Now the turn 1's been done. Look to the dangerous turn 3. Monsanov already down a position. Hop down 2 positions. Burns already up 1 as well. And in the background, it looks like Rivera's going to be going side by side with Gabriel Hop. It's all backwards for Gabriel.
Whoa! Big crash! I think that's Tavares.
It's Ord and Torres. Ord and Torres have gone in with a big moment at the front of the field. Yang's already under struggles from Monsanov, who's used a lot of push to pass already to try and get ahead. That's crucial. Get up there as close as you can, but the more they're battling, look at this. Slipstream is important today, and Shirakawa is starting to pull ahead. It's early doors. I do wonder if these drivers get a little bit too worried and might want to be thinking about that push to pass down the line, but they're all pretty straightforward now. Everyone's in a single line as they come down to the kink to the run to Canada corner.
Yeah, it was a great start from Yuki Shirakawa. He got away off the line well. Now he's going to have to do his best to try to get away from Dan Jiang. However, the draft around this lap is worth so much, around 0.6 a lap. So if you're behind somebody, it's worth it just trying to stick behind them and let them catch up to the car in front of you. However, most of these guys, maybe not that patient here and want to get to the front of the field quick, because if you're at the front, it's less dirty air, less aero wash on your car, and you can manage your tires a bit better on board with James Byrne as he flies up the hill. And he's going to be looking on Moretsov here for a position into turn 1.
And probably not be on the push to pass. Already used them at the push to pass there, so don't have to worry too much about that. I think I just saw Andrew Petty get on the push to pass as well. We've had another driver into the toes, as David Toaster, unfortunately, is toast for the day. Also getting caught out in a moment and pulling the car off after Bill Mitchell-Bent. But we do get now, and everyone's just holding station for the moment. I think we got a few replays of what happened at the start here. And watch this with the curve. Oh, cold tires on the curve. Just the slightest of taps, and someone got lucky not to lose their wing there. But that is a steel. That is not steel. That's a concrete barrier. One of the toughest ones to go by. In the background, hello. Elliot
Whoa!
moved around Nurmala. Nurmala gets lost out there, and he's going backwards. Last thing you wanted to get caught napping at turn 6.
Yeah, and that's the thing around here is if you try to make a move, you can lose momentum so easily. And if you lose that momentum, it's very easy to lose a position. And now, look at this. Elliot now struggling to maybe catch the car in front of him. He's out of the draft slightly, so that's hurt both of their chances to be able to catch a car in front. Because now, the car in front of them has a huge draft off Andrew Petty.
Yeah, and they're going to be wanted that as well. Nurmala's going to be using the slipstream. He's a very well adjusted to driving around here in an open wheeler, especially with the Lotus 79. Who tries around the outside of Bill Mitchell. Ben, Marco Nurmala, stop it. He gets it, but in the background, massive incident there, and Sofco is in the barrier and towing, and he got hit in the background from John Silver. Very weird incident there, and I wonder if that was just a checkup, because there was a slow car as well. Dan Jiang still looking as well. Here comes the movers and shakers. Smonsonov gets that move on Jiang, though. That's important, but they're losing time to Shirakawa, and they don't have push to pass. And I like what Shirakawa is doing right now as we get a quick replay. We'll talk about it in a moment. Yeah, losing the rear there. And I think that's caused all the... that was one of the incidents that we saw with Toaster. And then we saw others. But this is what I was talking about with Shirakawa, Lucas. And you'll probably agree with me here. Saw that the drivers behind used their push to pass. Used the push to pass to get that slipstream advantage.
No, and Shirakawa has nearly broken the toe here. This is brilliant for Shirakawa's race and being able to pull away from these guys, because these guys will continue to battle. If they're smart, they need to stay in line and stay behind each other and try to find somebody who can match Shirakawa's pace. And it's 1.2 seconds, so right on the edge of that slipstream. And it's super, super difficult here to try to get back in there, because it's so difficult to find that extra bit of time, unless if Shirakawa makes some sort of mistake. But 1.3 seconds now.
Yeah, that's the big gap now. Shirakawa is just on, but using 50 seconds of push to pass. And that's the thing. One good thing as well. But Benjamin David, now I've been looking at this. Benjamin David had the black flag. He was trying to serve a slowdown. And for some reason, I've got to call you out on this, Benjamin. I was paying attention. To serve the slowdown, he went on the push to pass. Last time I checked, that not slowing down, Benjamin, and that's a very dangerous entry as well. You've got 3 laps to serve a black flag, and this is the very slow, we don't have to get all eyes on him, because I think he needs to go in the unfortunate corner. That, unfortunately, is a drive-through, and this is another incident. Onto the brakes you go, and this is what happened when we were looking earlier with Zofko and Silver. Did he slow down, though? Does Silver get too fast? I didn't see any push to pass, as I do see the light there. Was that push to pass there early there on the Silver? I think that's what happened.
I think that was more of a misjudgment there. A bit of contact from the front end to rear end there, so I think that just pitched them both around. It's hard to do because these cars can be quite unstable with the setups that were provided this weekend by Tomas, and a bit unstable through there. So some drivers needing a little bit of a lift as they go through that corner, and some drivers being able to take it flat. And we see a battle. Fashado in front of Khan and looking to get to Jack David Spickett, who's made an incredible start here, up to 12th.
Yeah, remember that qualifying was not a real true representation of his pace, because he had that off track as well, but already up 7 places. Give it up, though, to Amin Khan. Already up 9 places, though. It's the hardest charger of the day, but Jack just working his way, and he's only used 20 seconds of overtake, and James Byrne wants to use some more around the outside. Out of the corner, Dan Yang has been caught, and look up ahead there. Shirakawa continues to be aggressive with this push to pass up ahead, already down 100 seconds. 94 seconds of push to pass used in 4 laps. Gabriel on board right now in front. Going to see Yang and Byrne go side by side into turn 1. James, last of the late breakers, trying to force Dan around the outside. And Dan with a fantastic move using that downforce to take that position.
Yeah, that was a brilliant, brilliant move. And what Shirakawa was doing here is he's trying to break away early. Like I said, the draft were so much around this track. As Numala here into turn 1. What's happened?
I think Nomala's had a moment here. He's going side by side. I can't catch who that was going side by side. And That's just a moment of just breaking against one another. Hold on 1 second. James Byrne around the out.
Whoa.
Stop it, boys. Around the outside of turn 6, these two are going to put on a clinic. Montanov is going to say, okay, you two keep doing that. I'm going to keep T2. And Shirakawa's going, you guys are fighting? I'm just driving on my own right now. Dan is getting caught here. Not exactly the race we were expecting. He was hoping after that P2 in qualifying, he'd be near the front, not battling for try and hold on to the podium.
No, yeah, Dan is struggling here. On the overtake for Dan Jiang, it's going to be up to 300 kilometers an hour down the back straightaway into Canada corner. He's going to be fighting, and the top two are looking at this, and they are smiling because there's no chance they're going to be able to catch them now. As, oh, this is going to be close into Bill Mitchell Bend.
Yeah, but I don't think Dan's got the line. In fact, you can see it. Byrne took a real good defensive attacking line. I know what I'm saying. The words don't come out right, but the words mean the same thing. As now, James is going to see that. And I tell you else who's going to see that. Gabriel Hopp right behind goes, well, you used your push to pass to try and make that move. And James just goes, I tell you what, get a little bit of a cheeky slipstream while you're at it. And a little bit of teamwork makes the dream work there. And DreamWorks made track. But now, with the overspeed, you got to be careful. And there's a lot of gravel on that exit apex there at turn 1. I don't know if that was caused by Nurmala, and that's so tough out there. And he's retired after this. Now, this is Divine, and this just looks a little bit of just putting the car in the wrong place and the braking.
Yeah, it's a hard move to tell. It's down the inside. That's a move. Oh, it doesn't quite make it work on James Byrne. Gabriel Hopp trying to get past, but this is just hurting them. Every time they go side by side, every time they make a move on each other, it's just letting the top two pull away more and more and more. And speaking of 4/10, or it's within a second now, as Morensinov is gaining on Yuki Shirakawa. But this is a group. This is what I've been saying, is that it's so easy to have huge groups of cars around this track because the draft is so powerful. Dan Jiang getting into the hands of Andrew Petty now as well, but James Byrne seems to pull a little bit of a gap here. So is Gabriel Hopp from Dan Jiang. Dan Jiang is struggling at the moment. He can't get that Super Formula car to work as Andrew Petty is all over his rear end now.
Look at this. Look at this. 5, 6 cars all trying to battle for the last podium spot that James holds. And dare I say it, this is something that's going to shock many people right now. Dan Jiang, the cork in the champagne bottle. It really feels like that out there as he's now losing out to Hope and Byrne. And in fact, I wonder if Petty, he's not getting on the push to pass yet, and I think he's just waiting, maybe waiting for the Moraine sweep down to attack into turn 5. Everybody else is following the line. It's almost the IndyCar wee for a moment. No push to pass by these drivers. Gabriel's going to try and look for that move around the outside, but says no. And this is now the game of wits. This is why we love Road America. We've seen it before. You want to battle for this? That's fine. But let's be smart about it. Let's start playing a little bit of chess. You want to go that way? I'm going to have to work this way. They'll go side by side. Only person using push to pass is Dan Jiang. Dan, there's no room there to go 3 wide. And I wonder if he's just overdone it there. Petty as well looking for moves. They're all just checked up there because the two in the front of this queue just decided to go side by side through turn 5.
No, this is brilliant racing. 6 cars separated by absolutely nothing. We're seeing Kade at the end of this train here, just looking at this melee of cars thinking, what on earth is going on? Oh my god, I marvel at this because this is what Road America is all about. These huge trains of cars and intense battles, and luckily so far it's been clean battles, and especially, that's what we love to see around here.
Look,
94 seconds.
Yuki, 94 seconds, that's a lot. We're not even halfway through the race. 94 seconds. Montanov had the 137. You can see it on the timing tower. The drivers and their push to pass, what they've got left. You get 200 seconds in a race. You can only deploy it after so much time in the race. You've got to build it back up to be allowed to use it again. To these drivers holding on. In fact, look at it. They're having this big battle. In fact, there it is. 200 seconds. Activation. 100 seconds of cool-off time. Just quicker than a lap there. And you'll start to see that none of these drivers are using that push to pass. They are all using raw speed. That is Road America at its best. And hot around the outside of James Byrne. Well, if I've had a nickel for every time I've seen an overtake around turn 1, I'd have a couple nickels. Not much, but that's what we've had today.
Yeah, and these cars able to do this. Andrew Petty on the push to pass. Is he going to be making a move here? I think it's more of a defensive play to get past Dan Jiang here into turn 5. Jiang down the inside.
Down the inside, but leaves the room open for
track.
Petty. Yeah, you know what, though? I do like that from Petty. Be aggressive. Hang on, who's gone off?
Oh.
Montanov's gone off. That's going to hold everybody up. Montanov gets off the road. Petty's going to get that move done. And this is going to allow everyone to just start catching on Giang. Rivera's going to go around the outside of 8. You can't go around the outside of 8. You just went around the outside of 8. You just went around the outside of 8 there, Fabrizio. Brilliant move there. Cole's going to see this. Dan Giang, I think the champagne bottle is open now. Everyone's come through, and that's a big move. And hats off to Petty there. We talked about it. I think that push to pass just saved him.
No, yeah, getting that track position is so crucial. And down the inside here comes Elliott on Dan Jiang. Dan Jiang's not going to back the big snap on the exit. Can he hold it around the outside of Bill Mitchell? Ben, no, he can't. Off goes Elliott. He's going to rejoin the track safely, however. And now, who's in the background? Tavares looking to capitalize on this.
Tavares is going to be looking for this as well, using the push to pass because Kolov doesn't have anything left to use. Elliott is just going to have to wave goodbye, but we're seeing some aggressive numbers of push to pass being used here. I wasn't expecting this much usage of the push to pass in this race. Here's another replay of what happened. Just locked up. Just broke it. Just the car did not want to turn and just had to go back. And in all due fairness, try to get back on the racing line. Realize that, that they're side by side behind me. I better get back off again. Took a little bit of a risk and decided I'm just going to have to wait. In fact, I talked about this. There's Gabriel Hopp, 165 seconds. We were talking about Shirakawa with 95. Tavares has 69 seconds to push the pass left, and we're lap 9 of 21. I don't know about you, Lucas. I'm not a I'm not a push to pass expert or anything. This is questionable how much some of these drivers are using push to pass.
It is so tempting to try to get push to pass on you, make a couple moves, and it works really, really well in the moment. However, it's thinking about long term. Me personally, I never tend to use my push to pass till the end of the race, kind of like Kevin Foster, Timothy Fury Larson. See the top guys, they usually always save it. However, in this moment, you have to use it when you need to, and some drivers have been on that button so much, and they're going to be suffering near the end of the race because it is worth so much extra time as Dan Jiang is trying to use it now to pull away from Gabriel Hopp through Bill Mitchell Bend here. It's going to be, I don't think it's going to be enough though, because you just need so much of an overspeed to break the draft here, as Tavares has had basically he's used so much of it. I'm shocked.
Yeah, and he can't use it at the moment. Dan's going to be able to use a bit more until it goes off. Hop's waiting as well, and Hop probably thinking, well, I can use this down the Moraine sweep. Tavares can't really use it much more as well. Jack Davis Pickett, though. How is Jack caught up to this? He's still got the biggest. That's a big save by Devine. What a save that was. But how is Jack caught up to this battle? There's Fachado as well. Fachado having a little battle in the background as well with Amin Khan right behind. And Khan's the biggest gainer today. 10 places. Remember, Jack Davis Pickett, 9 places. And he's catching up to this man in P9. Look at that gap just shrinking. And now, I was talking about Jack being a little bit careful with his push to pass. He's only got 90 seconds left himself. This is again, go back to it. This is a very weird race in terms of push to pass. And we've seen that defense is not worth it in this with the push to pass on this track because the slipstream is so strong.
No, exactly. And to be fair, I would give Jack Davis some slack because he has made up an astonishing amount of positions, so he's had to use some overtake to get through everybody. But he's catched up to these guys because everybody is fighting so much, and that's what I'm talking about. You lose 6/10 a lap when you fight with someone. You go side by side through one corner, that's 4/10. And so what we see is when that group of 6 cars suddenly decided to go ham on each other, is that it's caused people further back to be able to get back into this fight. Whoa, here we go, the shot out.
Fachado had to go on the defense there on Amin Khan. Managed to get that done, and can. You think about it, Jack's made up 9 places, basically used up over half of his push to pass. Can's made up 10 places and had barely touched his push to pass. And in fact, Fachado right now is going to be using that right now. Can is not even bothering. We're at the halfway stage, and he's still got 192 seconds left to use. These drivers still got some left. In fact, Gabriel Hopp in front of Dan Giang deciding I need to use some. I need to start working this car out, start attacking, maybe catch up to the back, because everyone's been so splintered ever since that moment. But one thing that isn't splintered is Yuki Shirakawa is continuing to be dominant, and it's down to 75 seconds. And Monsanov is not catching. Monsanov, in all due fairness, is not catching. Got 101 left. Machado still looking is well on Cam. Cam going to get on the attack. Yeah, big block, but had to do it on the exit. And I feel those tires are a little bit too hot, and that grip is starting to go on Machado.
Yeah, it is so easy to cook the tires around Road America. So many traction zones. In this car, it's so high torque, so you can very easily spin the tires. And to be fair, I will give it to Yuki Shirakawa. The gap is so close out in front. Moretsanov is 4.3 tenths away from getting into that draft and having a big battle for the lead. So they're trading push-to-pass blows here, but the gaps out in front have a bit stabilized here. James Byrne is pulled away from Andrew Petty as this battle is still going on into Canada corner. Oh, can't make it to the inside there, Machado. I think those tires have cooled down just a little bit now as Khan had a bit of a snap on the exit there. Through Mitchell Bend we go into the last corner. It's going to be a crucial corner to try to get past here. Got to get good traction out of it. Was it? Oh, it's good. He's going to have a big chance into turn one.
Big chance, but not got any push to pass to use this time, and that could be vital. You have to rely on the slipstream. And Machado knows that right away. Goes to the inside, blocks off the line. He can go to try and do this around the outside. Can't make that work. I've been looking around, and even though Petty trying to catch up, and in fact, I'll tell you what, Jay, brilliant work there. He's reading my mind where I was going. Petty, Rivera, Hop, Yang. Look how close this is right now. And we went from Dan Yang being the cork in the champagne bottle to all of a sudden Andrew Petty feeling like that he's the man out here. He's not the man in the middle, but I think he'd be looking in the mirror right now and being the man in the mirror because he was half a second slower than everybody else around him last time by. And the pressure's on, and he's got 133 seconds left to boot. May want to start thinking about using that to try and get an advantage.
Yeah, as we saw in qualifying, this group of cars, everyone is so evenly matched. And when you add that 6 tenths a lap for draft, it means that the guy in the first place of this train looks slow, not all the time. So Rivera is probably around the same pace of Andrew in clean air. However, that draft tows him right up to the back of his rear wing every single straightaway. And it's the dirty air in this car isn't terrible, so it doesn't affect you that much with the corners. And so it's just a slipstream.
Let's have a quick look of moments going on. This was Spickett having a little bit of a battle. Spickett's the car in the background. Oh, sorry, Divine in the background.
Whoa.
Sorry, as they go for the move deep into the brakes there to make the move, but too deep, too hard, too wide, and the get position goes right back again after those little trades. And again, Spickett's not doing bad after a poor qualifying with Matthew Divine around him as well. In fact, they're going to keep on doing this little battle. They're going to do the Texas two-step, but it's going to be in Wisconsin as Jack Davis Pickett's now down to 72 and counting, and almost got his wheel clipped by the front of Matthew Divine. And they're both still on this push to pass. Boys, 13 laps, so 21 gone, 9 to go. Jack, you're only at 65 seconds left. Matthew, you're at 91 seconds left and still counting. Now, Jack's a lot of late breakers, but he can't envision the efforts of that. Has to just give that position up. Meanwhile, Petty, side by side, more people going off. Was that Cole going off? No, it's Tavares. Petty holding off there. What has happened? Rivera's got a big-time lead to him as everyone just comes up, and it was just a case of making the move on Petty into turn 5, and all of a sudden, well, the Petty champagne bottle is corking.
Yeah, so Petty gets passed by Rivera into turn 5 here, and like I said, you lose so much momentum. He should have tried to get back in line there, but he tries to hang it around the outside. Rivera says, nope, you're not doing that. And Gabriel Hopton tries to take opportunity. He sends it around, and look at the background. Tavares gets a tire off in the entry to the corner. That spins his car around. And it's just unfortunate there.
Just the smallest of margins around here today is what happens. So you're pushing so hard to try and look for moves, and I'm surprised we've not had anyone bottom out at the curves at Bill Mitchell Bend. That's why I was so shocked at Nermal making that move around the outside of Tavares. As I said, that goes wide. And I tell you what, even though he's on the push to pass, I think that's a desperation push to pass. No, he was already on the push to pass. Apologies. And he just had to get out of it. Jack's going to get by, but the slipstream will probably work. And Jack goes, nope, you take the outside. It's worked a couple of times for some drivers, but Jack better on the brakes there. On the inside line, he's going to be compromised when it comes to speed. Works pretty well. Is there going to be a repose into turn 3? There isn't, and he doesn't. And Tavares has no push to pass left. Just going to have to accept that. Petty on the mean hand. Well, he's just going to get overtaken by Dan Giang, and they come together, and Petty not having the best of time. 2 laps in a row at turn 5.
Yeah, you know, in those moments, you just kind of have to give up the position there. Andrew Petty try to hang around the outside, but again, you're just not going to be left a room on the outside of that corner. It's just something you got to tuck back in and just accept that you lost the position and stay in that draft and stay competitive here, as Tavares now under huge pressure from Khan, as we saw him having that off. So it's going to be interesting to see here what these drivers can do. Jack Spigot, what Jack Spigot can do to try to get up to Matthew here. And yeah, I mean, it's been a great race for him so far. Through the kink where Catherine Legg had her huge crash in 2006 down into Canada corner.
So now the question is, you know that the driver in front of you is aggressive on the push to pass just as you are. What are you meant to do? What are you going to have to do, especially with this battle right here? You got Gabriel Hopp, 115 seconds left. I got to look to see if there's anybody with more push to pass. Petty and Cole do as well. But now you've got all this push to pass left. You've got 7 to go. I got to ask you, Lucas, you're the expert here. When do you start using that push to pass? Surely at this stage of the race, at this stage, you've got to start thinking about it.
Yeah, to be fair, at this stage in the race, if I was me, I wouldn't be using any of it. I would be saving it because you don't have much of it left, and that push to pass in the last 3 laps can be the decider, as Rivera is under huge pressure from Gabriel Hopp, who's on the overtake mode. He's going to try it to the inside. I don't think Rivera's going to fight this one too hard. He's going to let him burn that overtake, let him and have a bit of an advantage later in the race here, as he's going to maybe try it around the outside. No, Gabriel Hopp makes the position into turn 5. Bit of a snap there for Rivera as they exit. Dan Jiang now well and truly back in this fight, as Andrew Petty is trying to recover from all those lost positions. He's a bit further behind, but still well and truly in that tow as we run out into Hurry Downs. I mean, it's just, you got to save it. I think at this point, it's just about saving your overtake, making sure that you have enough left for the end, especially the likes of Dan Jiang and Andrew Petty, who are further back in this line. You're not going to be losing the tow at this point. It's going to be practically, these 4 cars are going to be beside each other for the end of the race, and just save it to the end so you can make the moves at the end, because at the end, it's all that matters. It doesn't matter right now as much as it will do in 2 laps.
Let's go back 8 laps ago for those unaware. Dan Jiang was leading this pack, with Byrne right behind him as well. Byrne has just gone away, and this was the battle that we talked about, Yang being the cork in the champagne bottle. He got pushed all the way back down into P7, I think P8 at one stage, after a few issues, because Tavares got caught out there in the grass. But then all of a sudden, they just splintered out. And now, with 6 to go, all these drivers back up once again. Hopp, trying to use the push to pass. Rivera's going to have to try and go around the outside with no push to pass. Around the outside of turn 1. Gets that move stuck in. Brilliant. And now, who's the cork in the champagne bottle again? Because it feels like these 4-5 drivers, none of them want to be leading this pack right now as Rivera continues on.
Yeah, I know for sure. And Rivera, great move around the outside there. You love to see it at Road America, but everyone's used their overtake. Gabriel Hopp taking a look to the inside. Doesn't pan out to anything. But Dan Jiang, as you saw, he used overtake there, and that was just kind of a useless push. He wasted about 10 seconds. He's going to go down the inside of turn 6. Doesn't quite work out. Gabriel Hopp around the outside, makes it stick and stays ahead, but yeah, it's just save your push to pass, guys. Save your push to pass. Don't use it. 6 to go at Road America. You got to save it to the end now.
You can see on the timing tower, people with their push to pass. Yeah, Shirakawa 66 seconds. So Monsanov 69 seconds. Byrne 76. Rivera 99. And then you got these all in the triple digits. They got their century, and well, you don't really want a century at this stage of the race. Gabriel Hopp 106, Yang 106, Petty 121, Core 149, and it's just a game of chess right now. Because you know that if you use this in the wrong place, you're not going to have push to pass. And then the person behind you is going to pounce on that. So you have to preempt when they're going to use the push to pass. And again, you look at it. Rivera can't use it right now. Gang can't use it right now. Then you would think, okay, Gabriel, use it. No, Gabriel doesn't want to use it right now. Because if he uses it, he's going to get caught out. And none of them use the push to pass with 5 to go. And at this stage of the race, you've got to wonder, well, even if you just use it for a quick couple blasts, is it worth it? They're playing chicken out there with push to pass and just relying on the strength of Road America, which is speed, draft, and more speed.
Here we go. Turn 5 is going to be a move. Rivera on that overtake. He wants to stay in the clean air. He wants this position to stay. He's going to go down the inside to suspend his position. Gabriel Hop is going to be left no room out there. Dan Jang looking to pounce that, but Rivera's used more critical overtake. And the difference is here is that, oh, wait, bit of a good exit here. Gabriel Hop's going to try to round the outside. He doesn't quite get it. And Dan Jang now on the outside. It's going to be nearly 3 wide, but Andrew Petty backs out of it wisely. And Dan Jang around the outside of Hurry Downs. And Andrew Petty's going to be taking the advantage into the carousel. They're side by side. Really racing. Andrew Petty has the dirty air in front of Dan Jang. Gabriel Hop all the way around the outside in the grass. And he's lost it. Big accident in the exit of the carousel.
That's so unfortunate because that curb goes the other way. If you ride it, you're done. That's it. So Jack Davis Pickett goes up 10 places to 9th, Can up 12 places to 11. Petty still battling here, side by side with Dan Yang, and he needs to use this. And again, the outside line. I think we've only seen Nurmala make that move stick, and unfortunately, he also got caught out there. Here's what happened to Gabriel. Pushing hard on this move, knows that has to defend on the inside line here, and already that car's just a little bit uncomfortable, looking for whatever move they can, and then around the outside, and this is tough. You want to get on the throttle early, but when you're so wide here, the understeer will kick you, and yeah, on the curb, on the grass, on everything. Wheels in the front just say bye-bye. We'll hold on, though, because you need a little bit of safety cushion, and that's all she wrote for the day. We're 4 to go. We're about 6 minutes left before we find out a winner. Well, Yuki Shirakawa, knock on wood's almost got a 2-second lead. We don't even know who's going to finish out the rest of the top 5. Petty to the inside of 5, and he's had enough of being forced around the outside. Capture the slide, capture the second slide, and he saves it. And the tires are overheated. You can see that with that slide at 6.
And look at this, Elliott, 150 seconds of push to pass, and he's caught this group. He's going to have so much more push to pass. This is going to be super, super important for the last couple of laps here. Andrew Petty's tires absolutely gone after that huge snap. 3 times he hit a snap. And Dan Jang has pulled the gap. Dan Jang now going to be on the overtake, maybe to try to pull away. He has it available, but he's not using it. I think he's saving it here. And this is the difference, is that in the lead of this race, you're 1 and 2. They had to be using push to pass almost every single lap here, I think, to try to keep their pace up and to not have the toe affect one another. And so it's the difference between them using push to pass every lap and these guys who are deep inside the draft saving it to the end and doing something different because it just doesn't work. Dan Jang now on the overtake, Andrew Petty on the overtake, and they have barely any time left. 149 seconds. Again, Elliott is in a prime position maybe to get P5 in this race.
We'll have to wait and see, but losing out to in fact, they hit the elastic band snap. It snapped as well. Tavares, though, we want to talk about people with nothing left. That's not a typo on the timing tower. That is 10 seconds left for the number 4 car in P10. They're being aggressive, and there's Tavares with 10 seconds left with 3 to go. That basically just attributes to 3.3 seconds a lap, and you can't do it on both laps. So, well, good luck there, Tavares, on making more moves when you've got Jack Davis Pickett ahead with 51 seconds left and Matthew Devine in front with 65 seconds. So he's going to have to be careful when he comes to this. There goes Spickett. What a drive it's been from Jack. Remember, did not have the best time in qualifying. Had to take an off track on the second lap, losing out. And what a fight it had been for him to work his way up into the top 10. I know he's not the hardest charger today, but what a result it would be for a top 10.
Is replay Brian Carey into turn 5. What happens here? Oh, on the gravel on the exit and into the wall. Oh, so unfortunate. So easy to do at Road America. It's just those things. It's an old school racetrack, opened in 1955. It has the gravel traps around. It has the grass around. So it's so easy to dip a wheel and just make those mistakes we saw early in the race as well. At the last corner, someone had a huge off.
Yeah, we've seen it, and this is why you look at the incidents that you see in the real world here around here. One of the first times I've watched IndyCar around here. So many incidents because of these barriers, because they're not tire barriers. They are just concrete barriers, providing no resistance there as more drivers go. We are down to, 16 drivers from the big 25 we had at the start of this race. This is the battle going on down with Benjamin David. Benjamin, remember, if you weren't here at the start of the race, did not serve a slowdown. And in fact, again, I'm going to have to poke him on that. He was on push to pass going down here while still trying to serve a slowdown. That's never going to work. And he had to take a drive through. He almost caused a crash trying to get into the pits. And he's now battling for 15th place on Arthur Vidal. Vidal's up 10 places. David down 10 places. Something's got to give because Vidal's only got 16 seconds. They're not sweet 16 seconds, unfortunately. Well, that's an overtake done.
Yep, that is, and Dan Jiang has caught back Rivera. However, Rivera, 25 seconds more push to pass to use, so he is in a good position here with 2 laps to go. However, Dan Jiang, you know he's aggressive. You know he's going to go for every single gap he can find, and what is going to happen? These 4 have been inseparable all race long. Andrew Petty, Dan Jiang, and Rivera. Elliott now on the push to pass. He's going to be on that to the end of the race now because he had so much of it. So Andrew Petty under pressure, and Rivera is going to be under immense pressure here. You don't really want to be leading. It's like super speedway racing on the last couple laps at Talladega or Daytona, because if you're in the lead, you're vulnerable. You don't have that draft. And a defensive line, maybe. Oh, Dan Jiang into the back. He's got front wing damage, and Dan Jiang's off. Oh, Dan Jiang's off to the last corner. That's a major, major shame, as he's going to be out of contention here. Andrew Petty now is going to have the advantage. Last lap, white flag.
Yeah, this is going to be it. Elliott, fastest lap of the race, going purple. They're all on the push to pass now. They're just letting it go. And that was a big moment. Dan went really aggressive into the corner. And now he's with that wing damage. He's not got the downforce, and he's just going to allow there as well. He's also out of push to pass. Well, that's Tavares. Sorry, out of push to pass and losing more time. I wonder if Yang with push to pass and a broken wing can get past, but Spickett now up 11 places. Meanwhile, you've got Elliott going around the outside of Andrew Petty. They lock wheels. Side by side, they continue on right now as they go into turn 6. But Petty gets it stuck. Petty just needs to slow the car down, and he does. Now he needs to try and catch up to Rivera. Remember, Elliott, no push to pass left. Petty still on push to pass. Rivera's on push to pass, but 15 seconds slower. One thing is for sure, though, that this has been dominant from the driver in the Honda. It has been absolute dominant, taking the pole position for a less than a 10th. Yuki Shirakawa has commanded the front of this field, took no eyes behind, and went full force as he went into the side of the race, holds on to it. Yuki Shirakawa wins at Road America. A fantastic drive at the end of this for the whole race. Lights to flag the victory, and there's been big time drama in the background as Elliott has gone off at Canada Corner and has 3 wheels on his wagon.
Yeah, that was an overtake attempt on Andrew Petty there on the last lap, but James Byrne finishes 3rd place, and Rivera finishes 4th. Andrew Petty 5th. A great drive from Andrew. It was just unfortunate in the end. There gravel on the tires of these cars as they come home, as there was drama, so much drama in the last lap there.
So much drama on the last lap as all the drivers will be coming through. And here is this replay going side by side, really aggressive down in, and you can see that Elliott was really trying to push to make this move. Petty's put all the defense there, put the car in one place, and just too much. And I wonder if that little tap of the tire barrier of not the tire barrier, of the curb may have just cost him a little bit. Well, we'll never know unless he tells us, but that's going to do it. And yeah, a little bit of wing damage. I think the tire was a bit out of position, trying to nurse that car home. Never good, really, to hold that on. And that's going to be all she wrote for the day, and all they wrote for the standings. Yuki Shirakawa, lights to flag, takes the victory from Smarth Monsonoff, who are great drive into P2. James Byrne will finish in 3rd, and Fabrizio Rivera in 4th. And it's Andrew Petty in 5th. Matthew Devine up 5 places in 6th. Jack David Spickett up 12 after that crazy ending into 7th. And in Khan up 15, though, into 8th. Tavares will finish in 9th. Miguel Fachado will be in 10th. Going to the next page, Elliott Court will be there in 11th place officially. Dan Yang will finish in 12th. Yes, so Yuli Olia will be in 13th. Storm Von Yatsky up 10 places into 14th. Benjamin David stays on the lead lap after that penalty in 15th. Arthur Vidal will be 16th. Then it's Brian Carey in 17th. Gabriel Hopp will be 3 laps down in 18th. Federico Cristofulli will be 10 laps down in 19th. Marco Nermala, one of the early retirees, as you can see, out there, and so is John Silver, Daniel Sofko, Victor Ord, Alessandro Cessna Torres, David Toaster. Well, I think he was getting his breakfast ready. He was looking for the way. Well, before we go, we have to give a thanks to our sponsors, because we do need to pay those bills. Get Good. Very thanks to Get Good Racing. And of course, Lucas mentioned it as well. Tamaz Setups as well. And of course, you've also got 3R Simworks. And James Byrne Coaching as well. And don't forget Lab Laps alongside that. And not to mention Full Push Sim Gear, Canada's ultimate destination for elite gear. From precious pedals to professional turnkey rigs, we fuel your obsession. Pure performance, expert support. Push harder, drive faster. And Sim Racing Nation, the community for sim racing enthusiasts and motorsport professionals from around the world. They focus on fostering competitive racing and an environment for drivers of all skill levels. And last but not least, Rookie Racing. Are you ready to hit the track? Well, Rookie Racing is your spot to discover motorsports. We make it easy for new racers to get behind the wheel, so stop dreaming and start driving. Book your experience or a full season at rookieracing.ca, located in the Greater Toronto area. Well, one driver who would love to be celebrating today is, I think we've got Yuki Shirakawa. And Yuki, ohayou, and congratulations. That looked a very convincing drive today.
Yeah, thank you, mate. I was confident in my own setup. I'm glad that the results have been shown today. Summers closed in under 2 seconds, but I managed to hold myself together. I knew that if I could get even 1.3 seconds away from him, he would have no chance. Unfortunately, I'm so bad at the English conversion that I can't speak anymore. I will do my best to continue achieving these kinds of success in the future. Thank you.
Yuki, one question. Oikusu. Kojona, did you use too much overtake?
I have not competition for overtaking. No, sorry. I like Red Bull better style.
Yuki, it's good to see you. Next race.
Sure.
Next race, Mugello. Good?
Yeah, I joined too. Thank you.
Arigatou gozaimasu, Yuki. We look forward to seeing you next time.
See you next time.
Yuki Shirakawa there. And we're just seeing who else we've got. Well, we've got the man of the hour, James Byrne. Comes home in third place today. James, that looked a very chaotic battle in the midfield for pretty much all that race.
Yes, it was. I was just trying to move forward, of course, and I got bogged down a bit. So in the end, of course, I was behind the top two, and they were able to pull away a little bit further. But yeah, I think the nature of this track just allows you to have a bit of a train thanks to the strength of the draft, and it's hard to pass someone who themselves has the draft.
Yeah, we talked about it. You know the old saying, the cork in the champagne bottle. We talked about that here in the booth, and it felt like that was going on a lot of the time, because it seemed like the only place you didn't want to be was in first place, in the lead of that pack. Was that the feeling? Because not many people really wanted to be ahead in that group, and then when you got by, they were just falling over their heels.
I would have taken first place. I think it sounds quite nice. But yeah, I mean, it's almost like some of the F1 Grand Prix Tour races where it's very difficult to pass someone with DRS. But yeah, a little disappointing, but overall it was a fun race. So I'm happy that everything went well.
Well, it's Road America. Road America always delivers out here, of course. And one thing as well is we go from a track that is basically all straights to a track with one big straight next week. It's going to be Mugello. Now, you've got a lot of it. You've got experience on that, not with the GP Tour, actually with the GP Tour. Apologies on that, but with our open wheelers, is it going to be another case of just playing aggressive on that push to pass?
I think it will be, and it's kind of different, right? Because at Mugello, you only have one place to pass, and the dirty air can be quite a challenge. So it's very important to qualify well and get a nice, good start to try and beat people there.
Well, James, congratulations on. I really feel that's a well-earned P3 after the battling out there today. Look forward to seeing you hopefully at Mugello. But until next time, have a good rest of your weekend, my friend.
Thank you, guys.
James Byrne, who came home in third. It's only fair to talk to the person who came home in second. Smarth Monsonoff. Sorry, apologies for that pronunciation there. But after the start of the race there, Smarth, it looked like it was just you trying to match Yuki at the front.
Yeah, not the best qualifying that I hoped for, because in the pre-race I did like a 38.7 and I was 2 tenths off of that. So that was I had to either get P2 or get a good start in order to get in the lead, and unfortunately I wasn't able to. But once I made that decisive move on Dan, I think that it was just a dogfight between me and Yuki, and he was just so quick the whole race. I mean, no way I could have caught up to him and passed him. I think if I was within the slipstream, which basically defines the races around this track, then I could have had a chance. But I mean, yeah, huge congratulations to him, of course. And yeah, that was basically my race.
And
It was the race, but
how frustrating
Lucas,
was it just to be just outside that draft when you were around 1.4, 1.2 seconds behind Yuki at certain points during the race? And it just how hard was it to continue to try to push yourself to get within that draft range?
Yeah, no, it was tough. I mean, the gap was fluctuating for a bit in the middle of the race between 1.5, 1.2, 1.3, and at some point I just thought, okay, maybe I just go full overtake and just send it to get in the draft, have some chance of winning the race, but I wasn't quite able to. And yeah, once I got to lap 11, I was like, okay, I just can't win this race. So yeah, I just settled for P2 at that point. Yeah.
well, yeah, next week. Go on.
No, that's all right. You
I was going to say Mugello next week. Your thoughts on that? Because it feels like, as James was saying earlier, it's going to be a little bit the same compared to what was Road America.
Yeah, no, I like Mugello. It's a fun track. A lot of high-speed corners there. And I think it suits my driving style quite well. So, again, maybe it could be a bit of a slipstream train, but also a lot of dirty air there because of the high speed. So basically turn 10 at Road America like 5 different times. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen because I didn't race this car there, but yeah, I think it's exciting to find out.
Well, Smarth, I know Lucas will say the same thing as well. Congratulations, because that was a well-earned P2 on that such tight field. So we look forward to hopefully seeing you do next week, and hopefully looking forward to seeing you as well back here in the podium.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.
Smarth Monsonoff there, and that's going to end it for the day. So, as I was saying, I've been saying to everybody, next week in 7 days, Mugello for round 9, same time here on SimSpeed. You don't want to miss that because this is a fantastic place for all things downforce and high speed in Europe, and really is becoming a sleeper on iRacing that's finally awakened, and everyone's really understanding how good Mugello is. You don't want to be missing that next week. From Lucas, from JR, producer, and myself, Craig, thank you to everyone for watching. And Road America once again delivers another name at the top of the field, but one thing still remains: the leader's not here, and they continue to trip over each other. And he's coming back next week. Everyone get ready. Mugello is going to be fantastic. From everyone here, have a great rest of your day, and we will see you in 7 days.